We are going to get started. I just want to make a note that this meeting is being recorded, and so you'll be able to find it on our YouTube channel afterwards in case you miss anything. And we're going to use the webinar format, so if you have any questions, you can jot them in the Q&A. And definitely feel free to hit up the chat to make sure if you want to message everyone, you can do all attendees and panelists. And again, we'll post it if you know anyone that couldn't make it. And we'll be successful tonight if you leave the webinar informed of all of our procedures for in-person learning that starts next week. And I know we've been working really hard, and I wanted to put the operations team behind me in my background because they've been working tirelessly to get the building ready. And so I'm very happy that I have my team behind me to support. So we're going to go through a series of slides about what reopening and what next week means. And please use the Q&A to capture all of your questions. But we are following this guiding principle. So we need to make sure that all staff, students, and families feel safe and cared for as we reopen. And we're prioritizing safety. So we've used all the data and health experts and scientific evidence to inform our decisions. We are actually going above and beyond the CDC and Department of Health recommendations. And we're also being flexible with accommodations and with family choice. As you know, you're all here because you selected to be in the hybrid program, so coming into school once or twice a week. And we have a lot of resources to make sure that it's a safe re-entry into the building. So we are on the brink of stage 2. That means there's 1 day a week in person starting next week. So next week, 6th grade will come on Wednesdays, 7th grade will come on Thursday, and 8th grade will come on Friday. And then the last 2 weeks of October, it will be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then just to give you a little bit at a glance, because we won't be doing another orientation before stage 3, but in stage 3, we have 2 days a week. So 6th grade will come on Mondays and Tuesdays, and 7th and 8th grade will come on Thursdays and Fridays. So there's a little bit of a preview of our October and November schedule. So we're going to jump right into hygiene and facilities and give you a preview of some of our expectations around how to keep ourselves healthy and safe. So here are some of our expectations around masks. We expect all students in order to get into the building, you'll have to be wearing a mask. It should be on by the time you reach arrival, and you should also bring an extra mask in case something happens to yours, although we will have disposable masks available as needed. We're asking students to only take off their masks at times when they're eating snack or lunch or drinking water. We're going to wash our hands before and after we handle masks, and in those times that I mentioned, snack and lunch, it could be a mask break, and we're going to make sure that students are socially distanced and able to be far apart from each other. We are also adhering to physical distancing guidelines, so we're going to maintain 6 feet distance, except for those in the same household. So siblings, can wait in the arrival line together or dismiss together. And we also have assigned seats. And you'll see, students, when you come back, that we have these signs all over the building about the maximum capacity. So that means how many people can be in each room based on the square footage that the city has put forth. And so, for example, in C406, the maximum capacity is 11 people. And so we will make sure not to exceed 10 students and 1 adult in that room. And you'll see some pictures coming up of what the classrooms look like. And in order to reduce our capacity, we also had to change our visitor policy. So we're going to essentially not have any visitors. All family meetings will happen virtually. Any pickup or drop off will happen on the sidewalk so that we're not having more more people come upstairs than need to. So again, this team behind me will be doing a lot of running back and forth to and from the sidewalk, to and from the security desk, to make sure that, if you're coming to pick up or drop off a student, that they're escorted and cared for. So here are just some changes to our school policies in the time of stage 3 and coronavirus. So we're not doing any large events or gatherings. We're not having contact PE. We're having students stay in consistent cohorts, and we're not sharing any food. Here's some things the custodial staff is doing. So we have gone through many different walkthroughs with the city and the Department of Health, and we also had a third-party microecologies to come and assess what the ventilation looks like in our space. And actually, every single room, we're very lucky because not all New York City schools have windows that work and open, and our windows actually open from the top and the bottom. And so we do have increased ventilation in every single room. We're also getting any carbon dioxide sensors in rooms to just monitor the airflow that's coming in and going out. Every night, the custodial staff is using those electrostatic sprayers, like that backpack that you might have seen in pictures. And so that's, we all have to leave the building at a certain time so that they can come in and spray down all the classrooms so that you'll come into a very clean slate every morning. We're also going to make sure that students wash their hands and get that squirt of hand sanitizer very frequently. So here are some times when we're expecting all students to wash and sanitize their hands. So that ends our section on hygiene and facilities, and we're going to move right into before you arrive to school. So again, any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. All right, so before arriving to school, we ask that you monitor how you feel. So you should not come to school if you feel sick, if you have a temperature, or if you answer yes to the questions that will appear on the next slide. And we do, just as we will promise to give you honest communication and feedback if there's a suspected case or a positive case in our school. We would also love for you to be transparent with us if you have close contacts that have tested positive or there's a suspected case in your family, just so we can keep everyone in the cohort safe. So here are the 4 questions that you will be asked every day before you enter the school building. And they're found at healthscreening.schools.nyc. You're going to be asked these 4 questions. The way that you get to them, I'm going to go back one second. So we need you to either fill this out on a paper form or fill it out on your phone and show it to us before you enter the doors. So we will always have paper copies available, but it's a little quicker and faster if for upper schoolers if you want to fill it out on your phone. So the way you do this is you go to the website, you can click guest screening. So we're not a DOE student because we're a charter school. So click guest screening, and then you can fill out I'm a visitor. I did one as a sample. You're gonna pick Parkside Preparatory Academy as the school or facility. And then you're going to the 4th floor. Then you'll fill out the daily screening and submit, and it'll say you're cleared to enter DOE schools and facilities, and that is valid for one day. And then you have to retake it the next time you come to the building. So if you fail the health screening, you will not be allowed in the building. You'll be asked to go home. We'll call your family and figure out the best way to go home. Let's say that you come in, your temperature is fine, you're not feeling sick, but then midday you start to feel sick. So if something comes on midday, your symptoms will be assessed and you'll be taken to the nurse before potentially being sent home. And if needed, if symptoms are bad or if there's a fever, we will move the student to an isolation room so they're away from the rest of the students or staff. If that student or staff member does later become a positive case, then we will let you know, and we will take the precautions to close down the classroom and move to virtual learning. If a student fails the health screening, they can participate in remote learning until they can return to school. And this is how you can come back to school after you have left, having failed or shown symptoms. So the number one thing you need to know, there's a few different ways that can happen, but you need to be fever-free for 24 hours without the use of medication, and your symptoms must be improving. And then there's some other situations, and each one will be assessed based on if you had direct symptoms or if you just came in contact with someone who did have direct symptoms, if you're asymptomatic or if you're symptomatic. So each case will be assessed based on guidelines that we will send out in more detail, but just to go over right here, this is the simplest way to put it on a PowerPoint slide. I will also send this out so you can read it a little bit more, but in the event that there are at least 2 cases, positive cases linked together in our school, then our whole school building will close and we will go back to remote learning. If there's just 1 case, then just the cohort will close, and that cohort, meaning 6th grade, 7th grade, or 8th grade, will go to remote learning. So you can be sure to hear a lot of this communication from us if these scenarios do come up. All right, so that is all before coming into school. Now I'm very excited to get to this next part, which is actually about what happens when you're in school. So you've passed the health screening, your temperature is good, your mask is on, you've sanitized your hands, you're potentially in your uniform. So here's a picture of what the uniform looks like. So we're asking for a navy blue polo and khaki bottoms. And you can wear any type of closed-toed shoe. And we're asking you to bring layers. And this is because our building is very, very hot and cold anyway. So it was always a building where we asked students to bring layers. And we also have to keep the windows open. So we know it might get chilly. And if you have an Explorer sweatshirt, great. If it's not an Explorer sweatshirt, we understand. And we're just going to do what we can to make the learning environment comfortable. So bring your layers. If you don't have an Explorer logo for right now, just if you could wear a navy blue top, that would be great. Here's some things that students can bring with them to school. So I went over the first 3. The next are academic. So definitely a pencil and pen, fully charged Chromebook. We are not going to use personal devices while we're in school. We're only going to use the school issued Chromebook. So if you come with your own MacBook per se, you won't be able to connect to the internet. So please do not bring your personal devices to school. Just bring your school issued Chromebook. Also bring your charger. Your Chromebook should be fully charged. So charge it overnight because we won't have access to everyone charged at the same time. We also recommend that you bring headphones with a microphone and an independent reading book, of course. So we're going to enter this year on the Rogers side. The gate will open at 7:33. You'll line up along the sidewalk. You'll see signs and people to help you out, where to go. We're asking that you socially distance, so leave that 6 feet of space. If you're in the same family, feel free to line up next to each other. So lower school and upper school are both entering through the Rogers yard this year. A little bit of what to expect. The first staff member will do a temperature check and check your health screening. Then the second staff member will do a mask check and give you some hand sanitizer. The third staff member will offer you breakfast. Then you will head upstairs. The gate is going to close at 7:55, so students, please arrive between 7:35 and 7:55. If you want breakfast, come early, come before 7:45, so you have a chance to eat breakfast in the classroom. After 8 o'clock, you will have to go through the main entrance. So we're really hoping all of our students can come on time so that you can go through our arrival procedure. And I told you there'd be a snapshot of a classroom. this is what one of the classrooms look like. And we'll be able to dive into some classroom procedures right now. So once you get upstairs, I'm going to pass it to Miss Batiki to take over here.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Really excited to see many of the kiddos next week. When you get to school, here's how breakfast and morning meeting will happen. We'll have breakfast in the classrooms from 7:35 till 7:55. We'll do a cleanup where students will sanitize their spaces because their masks will have been off and they will have been eating on the desks from 7:55 till 8. And then we'll have our morning meeting from 8 till 8:18. That is the same schedule as they would have on their remote days. And students will stay in their classrooms for first period. So even if they have a different teacher for first period than they do for morning meeting, they will stay and a teacher will come to them. The other times during the day when they'll also need to sanitize and maybe also move is when they've got snack and small group. So they're going to close their computers during snack time. They may stand, especially since now students are staying in the same room for most of the day. So they may stand, but they'll still need to stay 6 feet away from others. They'll have 15 minutes to eat snack either during Flex 1 or during Flex 2, depending on their schedule. They'll close their Chromebooks so that their Chromebooks can be away from food and drinking. Teachers will provide tiny water bottles, so I definitely suggest you should bring your own so that you can get enough water throughout the day. And after you eat, you'll sanitize your space. Teachers will be passing out just items that students can use to sanitize their desks. And definitely moving around during the snack portion of Flex, but still please have conversations around how important it is to not be in other people's physical space and also not get too close to each other. And then students will also get a 30-minute study hall where they have an opportunity to complete work from any of the classes that they need to, or just enjoy an independent reading book. And in addition to that, they'll get a small group during one of their flexes where they'll be either on the computer remotely with one of their teachers who is not in the building that day, or in a small group with a teacher who is in the building to get some more targeted instruction based off of their content.
Hello, students and families, Mr. C here. Just going over some sanitation procedures. So we're just asking that everyone who enters or exits the classroom uses 1 pump of hand sanitizer. As you can see from the picture, will be on the wall. Don't do more than that because it does get a little messy if you use more than 1 pump. Additionally, just keep it hands only. We don't want you to rub on your arms or legs or anything like that. Again, can get kind of messy and it's just not necessary. Every classroom will have a PPE bin. So that's going to include more hand sanitizer and cleaning supplies. And speaking of cleaning supplies, students will sanitize their space at various points. So twice during the day and also anytime after they eat. And it's pretty straightforward. The teacher will come around, spray at the top of the desk, spray the chair, give out a paper towel, students wipe it down, and that'll be it. So yeah, that's it. And then the schedule is pretty similar. I think the only real difference Ms. Fatiki already described, the middle of the day, you'll have a break and a small group. So your break will be your snack study hall and your small group will be with a teacher and that will be targeted instruction based on what you need.
Hello, I thought he was gonna go to the next slide. Okay, so hi, I am Ms. Hart, I'm the dean. This is just basically a really quick refresher of how we are holding kids accountable. We do it through our SOAR system. The things that we want kids to be able to do are scholarship, ownership, ambition, and respect. Those are our attributes. Every Wednesday is a reset. It's from Wednesday to Tuesday, and we start with 100 points. All right, and kids can earn anywhere to 1 to 5 points at a time for displaying those attributes. Okay. Unfortunately, sometimes that does not happen, and that goes through deductions. We have 3 levels. 2 are right in front of you here. The first level is like a level 1. That's usually a -1. Usually that is accompanied with like 2 warnings and then the deduction, unless it's something like that's kind of automatic. Like let's say you're late from a class, then that would be more of an automatic and not a warning. But pretty much like if you're getting out of your seat or things of that nature, if you're talking, usually that comes with like a warning, 2 warnings, excuse me, and then the deduction. A level 2 usually is a -3. And also that can also be automatic because it's a little bit more higher up on what is going on or what should not be going on. All right, next slide. And level 3 is a -5 off the source score. And that's usually high level behaviors that we would definitely do not want going on. Those are usually automatic. All right. Referrals are the way that we document really egregious behavior. To be honest, I'm hoping that is not going to happen. But the one thing that I did want to talk about is the automatic referral of if you're refusing to wear a mask, if a child is refusing to wear a mask. There is no wiggle room for that. Everyone in the building, children, staff, young, old, it does not matter. We all have to wear masks. So please, please, please talk to your children about the fact that we are having to wear a mask. And we're gonna try to do breaks, but for the most part, the mask needs to be on unless you're eating, right? Or unless you're drinking, right? So please, please, please talk to them, because if a child is refusing to wear a mask, that's going to be an automatic referral. If there are 3 referrals of that kind in escalating fashion, it's going to result in your child being removed. All right. So like the first referral of that kind, that's going to be a phone call from me or my associate, Mr. James. The second one would be a Zoom conference within 48 hours of that referral. But if a third one, we're going to ask that that child be in remote, because at the end of the day, we are taking every precaution to make sure that everyone is safe, and we do not want to endanger your child. Okay. So please, please, please talk to your children about this. Next slide.
All right, so now we're on to dismissal. And I will actually just add in before, we didn't really talk about lunch, but lunch will be provided. So bagged or hot, depending on what the cafeteria decides. And students will also be given another water bottle, although please bring more water if you think you're gonna want. Because we are not allowing students to put their mouths on the water fountain faucet. Lunch, we are hoping will be outside as long as there's no inclement weather. And so students will be able to be distant, take their masks off, eat outside, put their mask back on, and then play in the yard at a distance. They'll come back up, they'll go to an enrichment class, either with Mr. McDonald for PE or health, or with Mr. Anderson, where they'll do music and guitar. And then it's time for dismissal. So students will be walked outside between 2:50 and 3 o'clock. So all students should be going through the Rogers schoolyard, same as the arrival schoolyard. If students have lower school siblings that they're picking up, their siblings will be ready to go, waiting for them when they come down the stairs. And if you require other arrangements, like you don't want your child to be self-dismissed, or your child needs to leave at a certain time, or anything, just talk to myself or the operations team about any of those arrangements. We do only have busing for 6th graders, and we actually only have 1 student that is registered for the yellow school bus. And so busing is not something in upper school that is offered across the city to 7th or 8th graders. And then we're going to move on to some grade team specifics. We have we're going to hear like one slide from each grade just to set up some expectations. And we were able to get some cool photos. So we got the sixth grade team up first, and Miss Padilla is representing the sixth grade team.
Good evening, families. We're so excited to welcome our new upper school scholars finally and get to see some upper school classrooms. Just to go over some of our focus areas for when we come back into the building: attendance and preparedness, making sure that you set up enough time in the morning before you have to get to school. We recommend packing the night before, whether it's your Chromebook, charge it overnight, but your Chromebook and all your materials you'll need for each class, making sure that you're coming with your Chromebook fully charged. Bring your charger as well. Work completion and active engagement. It's a smaller class size in person, but the instruction is not going to change. Like the high quality instruction that students have been receiving remotely, they'll receive that same instruction in person. Work completion and expectations also does not change. We're still pushing for excellence and high quality work, whether students are in person or remote. Safety is definitely our priority, strictly enforcing the policies around safety that you've heard earlier in these slides from Ms. Baer and other leaders. Masks, social distancing, hygiene, we're all going to be part of that. Safety, so the same thing that students are expected to do, teachers and staff will be doing as well. And then there'll be an opportunity to replenish materials, the upcoming math units, some more independent reading books, and that pickup will take place October 14th. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Padilla. We are now going to go through seventh grade. So this is our seventh grade team. This picture is actually fresh from today. And we have a note from seventh grade from Miss Guy, who I'm not sure if she is here at the moment, but
I can do the seventh grade one.
Sure.
I can represent them. Yes. So that was us modeling what it's going to look like when you are sitting in these classrooms without a partner, pretty socially distanced, 6 feet away. If you want to imagine what that's going to look like for you or your scholar. And we just wanted to let you know that we are really excited to see you in the building and also to continue working with you remotely. We are super committed to bringing our best selves to work for you each day and expect you all to do the same thing. We want to enjoy each other's company, whether it's remote or in person, and have fun while also pushing ourselves to all grow as much as we possibly can, and not letting the circumstances that we are in become a reason that we are not making as much growth as we can. We have 3 main focuses for all of our 7th graders: attendance and preparedness. It is an expectation that we all show up for our responsibilities, whether we're children or adults, prepared to do the things that we need to do. Therefore, please sign on time when you're remote, and please come to school on time when you are in person. Be prepared with all of your items, especially with your charged Chromebook. You're going to be using it throughout the day so that we limit the amount of materials that you are going to be touching. Work completion and active engagement. There's only so much that a teacher can do if you are not engaging, so make sure that you are coming prepared to participate in all parts of a lesson and complete all work. Families, you can definitely see all of the work on Google Classroom, so definitely look through those materials and take note of the work that your scholar is doing and whether it is up to par with your standards. And of course, staying safe. As Ms. Baer has outlined, we have been working so hard to ensure that it is going to be as safe as possible for students to re-enter the building. And while we're excited to get back to some kind of normal with students in the building and staff in the building, we definitely want to prioritize everyone's safety. So we urge you to reach out to us if you have any questions about the guidelines we've set forward, because we need to ensure that we are all on the same page.
All right, thank you, 7th grade. And so 8th grade, their picture day is tomorrow, so I had to pull from an old Zoom picture. But we do have some 8th grade student work up on the bulletin board, so you'll get to see that in person when you come. See those math transformations and Summer of the Mariposas from reading class. So we have a little note from 8th grade.
Good evening, families. This is Miss McIntosh, and we are very, very excited to see you guys back in the building. And we just want to reiterate some focus points from 6th and 7th grade that will also be involved for 8th grade. So just preparedness, bringing all materials with you every day, especially that Chromebook and making sure it's charged, and those math unit books that we are giving out to you guys. Also attendance and being on time. We want to make sure that we're getting to school on time. This goes for remote and hybrid, so that you're making the best of your academic time. And we wanted to also add that Flex and SGR are specific to student needs. So it's very, very important that you're taking that time seriously. Also work completion, classwork, homework, assessments are all important. You guys know that we have a weekly quiz for math every Wednesday. Classwork, homework is given every day for all classes, so that's very important. And last but not least, safety. So that's always the goal and the thing that we want to make sure that all staff, all students are being safe.
All right, so in closing, our hallways have been very empty for 7 months, and we are very excited to fill them with students. And so I know I speak for everyone, and also Mr. Rahman could not make it tonight unexpectedly. And I know he is very, very excited to see everyone next week as well. Please check the Google Family site as well as your emails, because I will be sending out an updated 2020-21 Family Student Handbook that has COVID-19 considerations. So all of our policies that I spoke about tonight, and I will also send a copy of the PowerPoint. And with that, we're gonna take some time to answer any questions that popped up. I noticed a few families had questions about Metro cards. And so we are giving those out. We'll give them out on the first day that the students are in for hybrid learning. And you don't need to sign up. It's based on where you live, what address we have on file, and that you'll get a Metro card for that much, that fare. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. And if you don't have any questions, you're welcome to leave and have a great evening. And we're thank you for taking the time, at 6 p.m. on a Thursday night to come and hear all about school next week. We're excited for you to come and fill these hallways. And just to be clear on timing, the gates open at 7:33. Try to get here early, and the students will be outside by 3 o'clock. Ms. Padilla, I think there's a question for you in the Q&A.
Hey, Ms.
Miss
Barrett.
all of you. Have to say that out loud. Had to answer that one out loud.
Hey, Ms. Bear, Rakisha had a question in the chat about opting in to in-person.
So at this point, you should definitely reach out if you have questions about your status or which roster you're on. Students can always go into remote learning, but the rosters are closed for hybrid learning. just because we've been planning with these rosters. But I would say still just express your want or need to your child's teacher, and we can see what we can do. So again, feel free to have a good night. We'll stick on for another 2 or 3 minutes to answer any leftover questions.
Hey, Ms. Bear, when should students expect to get their schedule?
We will be emailing the schedule. Ms. Henry should be emailing it over, if not tomorrow, definitely over the long weekend. So if things get worse and parents don't feel safe or comfortable, you can always go back to remote learning. You can't go back and forth. So if you choose to go remote, then that's where you'll be until the next time that you can make a new decision, which will be in December, like for when school starts back in January.
8th grade is on Fridays. Yes, you should contact Nivelle's teacher. They'll be able to answer that question for you.
I did just check. You are on the list to come into school. So we'll see Nivelle on Thursday. I'm gonna just scroll back to the calendar because it seems like that might be helpful. And then we'll stick around for about 2 more minutes to see any last questions. But this is the schedule for next week. So we'll see 6th grade on Wednesday, 7th grade on Thursday, and 8th grade on Friday.
There was a question in the Q&A about having 2 children, I guess, from lower school and upper school coming on the same day. I kind of understand that because my daughter actually is in kindergarten, but the day that I come in is on Friday. It's just by happenstance if your children are assigned the same day. We're assigned grade days and lower schools also assign grade days. But you might want to still check in with your low school teacher for that answer. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be able to it's.
And we got a really good question. As cases are increasing, how are we going to stay safe? And that is a really great question. And we are following data based on whether or not we reopen. And so if the positivity rate for the cases goes anywhere 3% or above, we will not do in-person instruction anymore. As you know, the governor and the mayor are creating these cluster zip codes. If you've been following on the news, and so we're closely aligned to that. So if our zip code happens to fall in one of those cluster zones, then we will potentially have to go virtual. Right now, we are not near 3%, and so it is safe to be in the building. And we are relying on the masks and the distancing and the sanitizing to really propel us and make sure that students in the building are safe. If there is if there are positive cases within the cohort or within the staff, you will be communicated with on the day of, and that cohort and that staff will go virtual. So we do have plans in place for any situation that could arise. All right, we will stay on till 6:45. Otherwise, have a great evening. And since there don't seem to be any more questions, I'm going to close the webinar now. Feel free to reach out to any of us and we can answer your questions separately if you don't want to do the Q&A function. Again, thank you for coming. Kareem, I will wait for your question.
Yeah, Ms. Bear, there was also a question about if staff will be available to communicate with parents in person next week.
So staff will really not have that ability next week in person. It's the communication it does need to be virtual. If you want to meet a teacher on the sidewalk and you arrange that with them, that could be possible, but we don't have anything in place for families to meet teachers in person. All right, thanks everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Just I want to answer Hostil's question. Yeah, there you go. Mr. Constantino answered. We have thermometers at school that are no contact.
Okay, I'm really ending it now. Have a good night.